Hello, everybody. I'm Viggy Parhampton, and welcome to Tag Team Tales of Terror, where another horror author and I work together to create something short and diabolical. Today, I've tagged Rebecca Cuthbert. Rebecca is the author of the award-winning poetry collection In Memory of Exoskeletons and the short story collections Self-Made Monsters and 6 O'Clock House and Other Strange Tales, as well as the forthcoming The Hauntings Back Home. She's also written nonfiction and children's books, and she's the editor-in-chief of Undertaker Books. Welcome, Rebecca.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I mean, you have a very extensive and impressive bio, but I could only fit so much into that introduction, so tell me what I missed.
I'm just a spaz. Like that's the truth of it. I'm all over the place. I'm chaotic and messy, and if I have an idea, I just want to do it, and it's not good for branding. Like I can't be a brand because I'm like doing too much stuff and too much messy stuff, but um I enjoy it all. So uh I don't know. If somebody's like, "Hey, do you want to do a thing?" I say yes before I even think about it. I'm just like,
That's
"Yes,
great. That's why
let's do
you're
it."
here
Yeah.
right now. Well, let's get into the rules of tag team. So, this is a progressive story. We will alternate telling bits of the story until we reach some sort of satisfying conclusion. So, we'll each get 30 seconds. I will have a timer up here. And when you see it's either at the 30-second or 1 minute mark, we'll switch.
Okay.
I will have a prompt that I will draw from this handy dandy hat, which is very
Ooh,
nice and bejeweled. And then, as my guest, you get to start us off, which I know is the harder job, so I'm sorry.
that's okay.
You might want a pen and paper to jot things down as we go, or
That's
not.
fair.
It's up to
Nope,
you.
that's fair. Let's do it.
I always find it helpful.
Yep.
And then we're aiming for about 10 minutes, but if it goes a little longer, a little bit shorter, it's totally fine. Whatever the story demands.
Okay.
And
Do
after
we
putting you
have
through,
rules like we can't kill the dog or anything?
you can do whatever you want.
Okay. I
Tell
won't
it
kill
however
the
you
dog
want.
ever. I'll
You
never
do
kill the
first
dog.
person, past tense, whatever you want to do. I will follow your lead. And then after putting you through all of that, I have a little surprise for you.
Okay. That's exciting and scary. Let's do it.
Yes, that's the point. Okay, any questions before we get started?
Nope.
Okay, here we go. Pulling from the hat. Okay, what did you get? You got, oh, this is a fun one. Ghosts, but the ghost is an inanimate object. So not a ghost of a person or animal.
Okay. Not a ghost of a person or an animal.
And when you're ready, I'll start the timer, so just let me know.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Doug was sleeping when he heard the ring of what sounded like a rotary telephone. He remembered the one at his grandmother's house, puke pink, sitting on the table by the door, yellow pages tucked beneath it. He remembered that going into the 1990s, it seemed only telemarketers would call that number. By the early 2000s, even his grandmother had caught onto cellular telephones. And in time, she unplugged that pink telephone, put it in the back of her closet, where it has since disappeared. From where it has since disappeared, my grammar was terrible.
Doug woke up concerned that he was having a nightmare, but he couldn't get the sound of that telephone out of his head. He pulled the covers off, put his feet on the freezing cold floor, and started following the sound, which was still coming, even though he was 99% sure he was awake by now. He walked down the hall. He saw his closet door looming up before him. And before he knew what he was doing, he was reaching out a hand and grasping that doorknob, which was just as cold as the floor.
He didn't know what to expect. This wasn't his grandma's house. This wasn't 1990. Doug was a grown-ass man. He had his own place. Two wives had left him already, but he had other accomplishments. He was mid-level management, baby. He had a dog. He had a plant. It wasn't even dead yet. He was doing great. What the hell was in his closet?
Bring! It came again. Bring! It came again. And finally, he decided if I'm ever going to get some sleep, I'm just going to turn this knob. I'm sure it's nothing. For all I know, maybe Rufus is trapped in there and he ran into some hangers or something. I don't know. So he twisted the knob, he pulled open the door, And as if something had cleared a space just for this, the puke pink phone was sitting in the middle of the floor and it was vibrating.
Worse than that, when he opened the closet door, a puff of fragrance came out that he could only describe as grandma mildew. Why was the phone here? What had moved it here? Who had moved it here? Who was calling? The phone wasn't plugged in. He didn't even have a landline. But finding a phantom phone in the middle of the coat closet, in the middle of the night, was not an occasion to run from. This was it, Doug. This is your chance. Be brave. Prove you're not the weak-hearted fool both of your wives assumed you to be. So he answered the phone.
He picked it up. The phone, unlike the air around him, was hot to the touch, and he pressed it to his ear. And he said, "Hello? Who's there?" He didn't really expect an answer after all. This was an unplugged phone, and he had no landline. But before he slammed the phone back down, a tiny voice came from the end and said, "Doug, is that you?" And he thought he recognized the voice. It sounded familiar, but he couldn't be sure. So he said, "Hello, this is Doug. Who am I talking to?"
Grandma, baby. It's Grandma. His grandmother had been dead for a very long time. But Doug wouldn't hang up on Grandma. That was the height of rudeness. His grandma had always been kind to him. So he said, "Grandma? Grandma, is that you?" Which wasn't original, but it was all he could think to say to his dead grandmother, calling him on a phantom puke pink phone in the middle of the night, unplugged in his coat closet.
And she said, "Yes, Doug, it's me. Is the connection bad? What's wrong with you? Why can't you recognize your own grandma?" And he thought there's got to be some sort of practical joke here. If it's one of my ex-wives, if it's, I don't know, if the dog suddenly became capable of doing such things, but this is not happening. Maybe I drank too much last night. And then his grandma's voice from the other end said, "Doug, you need to speak. I can't hear your thoughts." And he thought, okay, if this is some sort of, ambient-induced nightmare, let's lean into it. So he said, "Hey, Grandma, how you doing? What's the afterlife like?"
And his grandma said, "It's a bit lonely, Doug. I thought I'd be reunited with your grandfather, that son of a bitch. But apparently he went to hell and I went somewhere else. And now I am just waiting. It's not that I want your mother to die, Doug, but some company would be nice."
So Doug looked at the phone and said, "Well, Grandma, you can, I guess, call me on this phone and we can talk whenever you want." He couldn't believe this was happening, but he was just going to lean into it. And his grandma said, "You know what, Doug? Talking on the phone is great, but it's not the same as having somebody here with me. And I just don't know how much longer I can wait or how long I'm willing to wait." And then in his hand, the phone started getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And Doug was just about to drop it when his grandma said, "Don't you dare drop that phone."
Then the cord, tangled, rubbery, snaked across the floor and around his ankles. Somehow it was growing in length. It twirled around his body, tighter and tighter and tighter, like a python, reaching for his neck. And he tried to yell, Grandma, no, but it was already strangling the air from his lungs, and he could barely gasp.
On the other end, his grandma was saying, "If you don't fight it, it will hurt less." And he was saying, "Grandma, I have so much to live for. What are you doing?" And she said, "No, you don't. Your dog doesn't love you. Your ex-wives are gone. You're about to get fired from that mid-level management position. Don't ask me how I know. We all talk here. There's a lot of gossip. So, no, you don't have a lot to live for, but you do have a lot to die for."
We can play rummy just like we used to. We can bake together. I can teach you all the recipes that you weren't interested in as a young man. We can bitch about your grandfather. We can make fun of your mother. You can tell me all about those terrible ex-wives of yours. It's going to be just like old times. We can even watch soap operas over here.
And Doug looked at the phone again as the air was leaving his lungs and he was gasping. And he said, Grandma, if you're in heaven, I mean, that doesn't sound like heaven to me. That sounds awful. And she said, Doug, I never said I was in heaven. I said your grandfather was in hell and I was somewhere else. And Doug stared at the phone and he thought, oh God, I haven't been bad enough to go somewhere else. I haven't.
Except that Doug had. Doug had a problem with alcohol, and it caused him to be a bit mean. Emotionally abusive is what he was accused of by his last wife. And frankly, he did an okay job taking care of Rufus, but he never really showed him love or kindness. That plant that wasn't quite dead, it also wasn't thriving. And maybe he had made it to mid-level manager status, but he didn't do it through fair or ethical ways. He had planted drugs in his competition's briefcase. He had accused another one of sexual harassment just so that he could get that position. Thinking back, he realized that he had ignored a lot of his sins over the years. He had blamed others. He had rewritten his own narrative so that he came out the hero in every story, but he was sort of a piece of shit, which is what his grandmother was helping him see now, as his grandmother had always helped him see. She never sugarcoated anything. She always told him the truth. And right now, this was a truth he needed to hear. He wasn't going to heaven. And maybe he wasn't going to hell, but he was going to join her in that other place.
The end.
The end.
That was great.
That I I coincidentally just wrote a really silly little story about a haunted kazoo. So I love that we got to do a haunted telephone today.
I like that too. I recently wrote a short story about a haunted defunct horror hotline.
Oh, I love
So
that.
I also, yeah, this was awesome. This was great.
Thank you. We need to find new things to be haunted, new
Yes,
things to do the haunting, and new places from where the haunting should emanate, like a coat closet.
I agree. I mean,
Mhm.
I've always thought coat closets were kind of creepy.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
think Rufus is going to be fine. I think Rufus is probably going to be adopted by one of the ex-wives, who is
Hmm.
just honestly a nice lady.
Yeah, she
Deserved
didn't.
better than Doug.
Yeah, she did.
It's
Well, we
really,
got to come up with a title for that.
oh dang. Maybe. Uh, hmm. What about Death Knell?
I like it.
A knell is not quite a ring, but Death Ring doesn't sound as good.
I agree. Death Knell.
Mm-hmm.
That's the title. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think? You did great.
Thank you. This reminded me of that game Story Cube.
Mm,
And also a little bit of like Balderdash,
I
that
could
like
see
old
that.
like, card game. And I used to make up dumb stories for my nieces and nephews when I was babysitting them, but they weren't horror, so this was way more fun than that ever was. That was about like cute animals and stuff.
Hmm.
I much prefer doing this with haunted telephones and grandmas calling from beyond the grave.
Totally. See, my nieces and my 4-year-old, they only want the scary stuff. So I have to make up stories on the spot, but they're like, can you make it scarier?
That's awesome.
Scarier. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, my 4-year-old thinks that Pennywise lives in the drain, but she likes it. She says hi to him every time we pass by.
That is terrifying.
Hmm. Well, I
I
tried to
like
make up Pennywise's silly cousin Nickeldum, and every time I mention that, she's like, Nickeldum is not real. Pennywise told me he's not real. So that was terrifying.
So at what point do you get nervous? Like how much of her conversations does she need to relate with Pennywise before you're like, hang on a minute now?
Not much, honestly. Anytime she says, oh, I didn't like him because he wanted me to play games and I didn't want to play. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go hide in the closet forever.
Yeah. My students just read this story Summer by Tananarive,
Oh, I
and
haven't
it's
read that
got
one.
like it's got a creepy kid in it, and like creepy kids always get me, you
Hmm.
know? Like whether the kids themselves are the ones being creepy or the kids are possessed by something creepy,
Hmm.
like always freaks me out.
Yep, yep. I'm happy that my daughter leans full on into the creepy. It's how I know she's mine.
Hmm.
But sometimes she'll out creepy me, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, I see how
Back
it
away
is.
slowly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know about you, but crafting a story like that always makes me hungry, and also it's almost lunchtime.
Okay.
So I created a recipe just for you based off of
Oh,
6 O'Clock House and Other Strange Tales.
that is so awesome. I
This
love
was
cooking.
this was a fun. I love cooking too, and this was a really fun one. And I mean, there were a lot of different stories in that book, so there were so many different directions I could take this one. But I decided on something with kind of an earthy twist.
Mm,
So I call this one "It's 6 O'Clock Somewhere Botanical Focaccia."
that sounds delicious.
It was. It's like super straightforward. It's easy. It's also gluten free if you care about that. It
I
is.
am total like I have celiac. I'm not even
Do
kidding.
you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this was perfect. I don't have celiac, but I always eat gluten free. So this is almond flour based. And you can make everything in a food processor with some cheese, eggs, almond flour, spices. And then the botanical part comes when you put it in the pan and then you decorate it with whatever vegetables you want.
I have everything to make that in my home right now, and I am not lying.
Okay, I'm going to send you the recipe right after this. It's also going to be in the show notes for anybody who wants to, build up an appetite during a reading binge. This recipe really was delicious, and you can make it pretty and botanical.
I'm gonna make it today, and I'm gonna post a picture of it and tag you.
Perfect. Ah, I really hope you like it as much as I do. I've made this many, many times, and I was like, because like I said, there were many different ways I could go with this book, but this one just really spoke to me.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I
so
never get to make bread stuff. I'm very bad at making bread, but like this is
mhm.
a flat situation, right?
Yes, this is
So
almost more like baking a cake than baking a bread.
yeah, that's my speed. That'll
Mhm.
be good for me.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. And where can people find you and keep up with you and your work?
Oh, so I'm on social media too much. So you can just put in my name. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Blue Sky sometimes. And my website is RebeccaCuthbert.com. And I'm also on Linktree. So it's just, I don't know, just type my name in and something will come up and you can chase me down.
Awesome.